Patrick was in Europe, but one of his major collectors, Arnie Hecox, visited the gallery to view one of his potential acquisitions. Mr. Hecox held the position of one of Patrick's most preferred collectors. The charitable arm of Mr. Hecox's mutual fund regularly donated exorbitant sums of money to the Whitney Museum of American Art. His connections to the museum and its biennial were often an asset to Patrick's artists, and hence our gallery's portfolio. So Patrick allowed Mr. Hecox to visit whenever he wished, whether we were open or not, and whether I was anywhere near the gallery to open the door. Mr. Hecox had called ahead in order to view a painting in Jack Eaglehart's upcoming show. Until a show is installed, the upcoming work is often stored in the gallery's basement. People like Arnie Hecox are granted direct access to the basement. Normally, only Patrick escorted collectors downstairs, but since he was in London, it was me who Mr. Hecox followed into the service elevator. Since I knew he was visiting, I assumed it wouldn't hurt to set up a film projector as well. In his trim business suit, Mr. Hecox stared at the Eagleheart painting for many minutes. He held up his hands, blocking out the bland white walls that surrounded the piece. He said, "I'm trying to imagine it above our Paolo Buffa credenza." He stared longer, clasped his hands behind his back, and rocked backward and forward on the heels of his Italian shoes. His wide purple tie waved between his open lapels. He stared at the painting from inches away. He stared at it from the opposite end of the room. He touched the paint with his fingertips, which we didn't officially condone, but if somebody is about to spend $50,000 on a painting, they may test drive it however they like, as long as they don't do any lasting damage. After 15 minutes of this fidgeting around, he said, "No." I tried to not sigh when I said, "No." He said, "No, I'm afraid not. The dining room that I'm thinking of for this, my wife recently had it redecorated, and this would have been perfect for how it used to be, but it's just not going to work now." I said, "Maybe there's another room that it could be quite fashionable in, or perhaps your Hamptons estate, or the artist painted this in Rome, so perhaps it would be quite fitting in your Tuscan villa." He still said, No, I'm sorry, and don't worry, it's not your fault. I'll tell Patrick that it's just not what I'm looking for right now." Without saying anything more, he walked toward the elevator, and I said, "Mr. Hecox," and desperately tried to not sound desperate. He stopped and turned to me, obviously wondering why we weren't already going up. I said, "Patrick and I know that you are immensely busy, but he wondered if you might have a moment to see something brand new. Now, Patrick knows that you have been aching to see something truly avant-garde, something that will reign in the 90s with panache. So, if you have a moment, he would love for you to see a new artist's work, a young recent graduate from Cooper Union." Nearly all of this was lies. Patrick had never intended for anyone to see Celia's films. He probably didn't even remember that we stored them in the basement, in case Celia's other work had become a sensation at her debut, and we needed to show collectors more of her art. I don't think that Patrick had even watched them, but I had. Mr. Hecox said, "Patrick thinks I might like it?" He wasn't convinced. I said, "Almost certainly. We believe that these pieces have the potential to be shown alongside other groundbreaking works, maybe near Pollock's drip paintings or Warhol's soup cans at MoMA." As we spoke, I knew I'd be out of a job before Patrick returned from London. My heels clicked over to the projector. I checked the reels. He said, "A film? Oh, Patrick should know I don't do films. Where on earth would I set up a projector day and night? I'd never be able to enjoy it. Besides, somebody could just record it on a VHS tape and pop it into the VCR." I said, "Patrick thought you might say that," and I flipped on the switch. I practically leaped awkwardly across the room to hit the lights before the film began to play. I said, "But this is truly one of a kind. It's hand-painted. To make another copy, you'd need a team of painters working day and night. Skilled painters." He looked at me as if he'd be on the phone with Patrick immediately if this was a ruse. Then the lights went out. The film flickered to life. On screen, Celia struts from left to right on a black and white stage. Her cape flutters from yellow to green to blue. It lasts no more than 30 seconds. The film went black and I turned on the basement lights. Mr. Hecox turned to me with eyes like a boy who just received his first kiss. He said, "It reminds me of when Dorothy first walks out of her farmhouse and into Oz." "Are there more?"